This podcast is rated R for restricted. Under 17 requires accompanying parent or adult guardian.
It's October, guys. Do you know what that means?
Oh, Jesus.
Danny gets to watch the films he wants to watch.
That's right.
What that means.
Yeah, I got to force you two to watch movies that you never would watch, but I get to, watch a lot of commentaries and get new 4K Blu-rays and all
you're
that
giving
stuff.
yourself more work.
It's like Christmas
that's
for
right.
me. You know?
Yeah. Worky Christmas.
I need it broken up after all these, snooty historical librarian type commentators telling me why I should be liking movies all the time.
That's fair.
Movies I already like, I like it better when they tell me that I'm justified in liking them. That's the way it goes.
Yeah.
This
Look
week,
at her head. It spins. Look at it. Look at it.
Hitchcock's commentary on The Exorcist.
That'd be good.
Did you like The Exorcist?
Did you watch the head? Did it spin?
Yes.
So we're watching the 1973 The Exorcist, directed by Willam Friedkin. This movie was a huge hit back when it came out and was controversial. They had to get bodyguards for Linda Blair, their little girl, all this stuff. People thought it was demonic. It still got kind of a reputation around it. There's a lot of rumors on trivia and things like that. So it's kind of a fun one in regards to that. But I think I meant to plan this differently, John. I wanted you to do one of the movies coming up first, but I fucked it up and I did this one first. So I think you get to do this one anyway, and then you get to also do the other one.
You can tell me whatever you want. I don't care. You want me to do this first? I can go first. I don't care.
Yeah.
Just tell me what to do, Danny. Tell me what to do.
Has everyone seen this before, actually? Let me ask that.
Yeah.
I had definitely seen this before.
Okay, so everyone's seen it. So we're going John.
That's me.
Yeah, let's go, John.
I will say the usual if most people probably watch this, but if you haven't, I think it's really good and it's worth watching and there will be spoilers. So
good call. Who hasn't seen this, but maybe some people haven't at this point?
Yeah, I haven't seen a long time. I don't remember any. All I remember are the scary bits, the possessed demon bits. Didn't remember anything else about it. I think if you haven't watched it in a long time,
so like the last half an hour of this 2 hour long movie, basically.
Yeah, right. What do you mean, like the opening? Yeah. I was like, oh yeah,
exactly.
It's in Iraq. I forget about that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, that's still
I was like,
pretty
I
forgettable.
don't remember that really.
Yeah, but I thought this movie was fantastic. I thought it was really, really good. I was really surprised, and I didn't know. There's so many good choices in this film. It seems like there's no music hardly at all. It's great,
so good,
except for the Tubular Bells, and that was just like music written elsewhere that was brought in.
It was demo music.
At the very end, that's Oakenfold, right, or Oakenfield, whatever his name is. He wrote it. He wrote that, and they just brought it in. And at the very end, when the credits roll, then horrible horror music comes on and you're like, thank God that wasn't there the whole time. That made everything feel more real, more scary. I could go on for quite a bit about this. There's so many good things. The actors are great. The character, the priest, is awesome. He's just sort of dark and unhappy, but not like overly so. He's just, I don't know. I just like the style of his character. I think the medical scenes are horrifying.
Scariest parts of the movie. Yeah.
Right? But they are realistic. They're not overly horrifying either necessarily.
It's clinical and it's like almost like a documentary at some
it feels
parts.
like part of that is because of the lack of the score. There's a general tone of the film where they're not as horrible as whatever's going on. It doesn't feel like it's necessarily shoved in your face either. And so it doesn't feel as manipulative. The thing that I'm not a religious person at all, and I could see this film be really annoying about some kind of Jesus versus the devil thing, or God versus the devil, or Jesus, God. They're all the same thing. I don't know. It's all confusing. But
don't forget about the ghost, John.
Well done.
Don't forget about the ghost.
Well done.
Whatever.
Well done.
But anyway, no, it's not. Even at the end, like what the really cool way this ends. I mean, it's tragic in a way, but the priest is feeling guilty, feels like he may have been the cause of his mother's death. He sacrifices himself, but it's not some big glorious sacrifice either. He's like tormented anyway. So the way it ends is really brilliant, I think, and with always going back to the stairway where the first guy is, the director's killed there, and then the going up and down. It makes the stairway like a character almost, and not in a huge way or anything, but it's scary. It's this long stairway.
It eats people. It's the stairs that
and
eats people.
it makes stairs scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the ending is really brilliant. It doesn't even make necessarily this complete hero out of
Move the bed away
either.
from the window, guys. You got to strap to the bed. She's chucking people out the window.
Put some
Move her
bars
out
on
of
the
that
window.
room. Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, right. Like, look, she's like screaming and going nuts. You're not going to bring her home.
No, we just have to wrap her wrist. We just have to wrap her wrist with a sheet.
Yeah,
We'll be
it's
fine.
That's like a tissue
we'll be
paper, it
fine.
looks like.
Right. Maybe she killed that
Some
director,
gauze.
but I'm going to go get some donuts.
Yeah.
And,
You're good.
we'll
Hey,
have the- 80-year-old
80-year-old guy. You good? You good with her? You are? Okay,
we're
cool.
good.
See you in a
Everybody's
bit.
good. We're all good. I mean, again, you can start to pull some pieces of it apart. But I like that there's lots of great shots, lots of great scenes, where the Exorcist guy, the older priest, comes to the door is really amazingly shot when he's coming up, and you have the stairs and you have the lighting. It's really cool. Yeah, there are parts that maybe I can pick apart. I don't know. The beginning makes no sense, like how that ties in anything other than that somehow that's related to the demon.
It's just the whatever you call it.
They dig up
right.
the demon, right? That's
The-
the
yeah,
last
right.
whole thing.
It's just the
yeah. So I guess but it doesn't.
I kind of like it. It makes it seem even more like a historical
But I guess,
nonfiction or
but
something.
It's like what they
it's just
dug-
the scary,
somebody-
haunted, artifact.
Right.
Somebody
basically.
dug up the demon, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't do
so
that.
he was buried, and then he got dug up, and I don't know. Anyway, that was. I still like the scenes. I still like the way they did the crowds and the way they did the people doing the labor and all of that, like digging and stuff.
They
It
didn't
was
do any of
pretty
that.
well
they
done.
just found a dig site in Iraq.
Oh, yeah?
And
Oh,
then
is
they
that what it
filmed
was?
So
Yeah.
it looked realistic,
It
right?
was- it was
So
real.
It was a good, real dig scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. But yeah, I
No, that poor bastard was making 25 cents a day.
probably already maybe.
And
Yeah.
they got that shit for free. It was pretty impressive. Yeah.
So I was impressed with it. I found it tense, and I liked the characters, the mom suffering with your child going nuts and nobody can help you. Again, was pretty.
You guys
well
didn't
done.
get sick of her like at 11?
No.
Hysteria.
I thought it was
No,
awesome.
because it seemed
I did.
appropriate. It seemed appropriate.
I agree.
though. It's like I think
Her daughter was getting worse and worse, and she was losing her
Right.
mind and becoming more and
Yeah.
more insane with it. I thought,
Yeah,
it
man,
worked.
I just had trouble with that. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's
It was like
Ellen
the more
Burstyn
she
can do
got
going crazy
It was
better than
like an
anybody else.
inverse.
Yeah.
It was
How
like
many-
comedy.
like,
comedy
what's her
was
name?
coming. Comedy was coming,
right.
and there was like her craziness. Yeah, I don't know. I was having a hard time taking the movie seriously, and then having her hysteria still be there. Because like by the time that she's going absolutely crazy, the fucking head's spinning around, the eyes are going crazy, she's floating in the air and shit. And so I don't know. It's
So
like,
what levels of like how many Shelley Duvall's did she pull? Do you think from
oh
1
no,
to
I thought that
5?
was she was better than that.
Okay.
Still,
Did you recognize her,
In terms of-
TC?
Yeah, she's the lady from
Requiem.
the heroin movie.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. I thought it was awesome because I mean, all the stuff, the way I saw it was that she, the daughter has mental issues and is like having seizures and is getting checked out at the doctor, and all this is like life threatening and she can't control it.
Right.
So all that stuff by itself without the demonic presence is already enough for a parent to start going crazy, and she doesn't have
Yeah.
any support. No one's listening to her. It's she's alone. The
Now that
daughter's
part's
sick.
relatable too.
Right. And like it's going
Yeah.
to 10 there, but then,
Yeah.
I just saw it as, I thought her performance was like, it's one of the best performances in a horror movie I think that exists.
Well, I think what it is that like she got to 10 early.
Yeah.
And then she had nowhere left to go.
She went.
You know
I,
what I mean?
I
Like,
felt
yeah.
like she kept going
Yeah.
somewhere.
Oh, I don't know. I don't
fair.
know. I just kept hearing the same, and seeing the same reaction, and I don't know.
It could get tiring, I guess, if it's starting to like really get on you. I think again, it's a sort of
I wasn't lost in this either.
yeah.
So
Oh, no, that sucks.
yeah. Well, because I've already seen it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that may be fair. I just liked all the different there were small touches that were good. Like the inspector was a good touch to add sort of the tension, to sort of like make it seem like maybe it's going to go in a different way too, in terms of him accusing her of murder or whatever. Again,
It
some of
brings
the
reality
scene-
back when it's mostly
Right.
about like the priests and
Right,
supernatural
right.
shit. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, a person died. This is the real world here.
Right,
There's
right,
going to be
exactly.
consequences for their shit.
And as silly as it still sort of is, where you're gonna like grab an object and say some words and sprinkle water on somebody, I think they still did a pretty decent job of trying to make that seem like a battle, of trying to make it seem like an exhausting And if you think about it, it's kind of silly. But again, I'm okay with it in the sense because that's not what really resolved the thing. What resolved the thing was him sacrificing and himself.
It was helping though. Like the power of Christ compels you was like fucking with it. You know,
was compelling it,
and the holy water like
it was
burnt the
compelling
skin.
it really hard.
Yeah, I know,
really hard.
but it's silly because it's still kind of silly in that.
It's
sense,
not
but
silly because the way the confidence it has in that dialogue and the way it sits on the actors and the way the actors do it is like
that's what I'm saying. When you think about it, saying these words, that's how you're going to fight the demon.
Damn it, TC.
I agree with both you guys. That's what I'm trying to say, though, Denny. They did a great job of not making it silly, of making it seem like a real struggle when you're saying these words together, you're chanting. So I sort of appreciated that too. I thought, because again, I'm pretty inclined to think of that stuff as really silly, but part of the setup that works well too is the younger priest being really reluctant about all of this. Like going, well, now we have psychiatry. We don't need.
And we have physical doctors. Yeah. It's like it's not necessarily, right.
And
even the person who did the exorcist, he's like, well, the exorcism works if the person that thinks they need the exorcism believes in it. It'll
that
work
was the
in
best
their
little
minds.
loophole they had in that whole story.
They're so reasonable.
I was like, they just let that right open. Like,
yeah.
Hey, you can't even challenge us. We just summed it up right here in this one word.
Mm-hmm. Right. And
it's good.
It makes
this one line.
It makes them. Yeah. Again, it makes everything seem more believable in the sense.
And that people are reasonable, and it's not all just like Jesus is real, God is real. It's like we don't fucking know. Like
and there are just some people in the film that are like, well, I don't know what to tell you, but this is what I've heard.
Yeah,
and you just kind of like, it's like an anecdotal evidence of it may help. I don't know. I'm just saying. But what do I know?
Yeah, So I think that's again, there are just a lot of choices in the film in terms of the plot, in terms of how the characters act. That for a horror film is really well done. Especially to manage a horror film this way, I think is like I was really, really impressed by it. It seems, and maybe no thought at all went into it, but it seems meticulous. It seems very well crafted.
It's extremely meticulous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if Friedman was like shooting from the hip or whatever.
No, I would. There's no way. There's no way. I would say this was production wise very, very, very well.
We had
done.
a movie where we thought was like extremely well put together, and it turned out it was a shotgun. I forget which one it was.
Interstellar.
No, Interstellar is no. Mr. Nolan spends all his time on that. Do you know how much
they were throwing shit in the cut all the time?
That's true.
But there have been a bunch where movies just come to. Was it Casablanca? That one was not exactly from the hip, but it was thrown together really quickly.
It was one of the movies that seemed really meticulously shot, and your big surprise for us was
it happened
that it was
one night, maybe. Because they argued the whole time.
I don't think we need to
don't.
brag about how we were wrong. I think we could skip
and we also
that
don't
part,
have to brag about how many damn movies we've seen.
Yeah, right? We don't need to, go down that road.
Anyway.
No, he did this on purpose because his movie before this was the French Connection. And that one, he was shooting at the hip. He talks about the famous car chase scene in that one where he was just running around New York and he threw the edit together. And people say it's one of the best chase scenes in history. But he literally had no idea what he was doing. So for this one, he wanted to do the complete opposite, where every single shot, they spent days on the lighting. The lighting designer had like one of the biggest jobs in this movie because every single shot was intentional. Like all the camera moves, all the positioning, all the lighting changes, and all that stuff was all totally planned out. So this movie took a long time to make.
You can see it. There's very little, it was very smooth. There was nothing jarring. The edits were very smooth. It moved from scene to scene very well. The audio was really good.
Yeah.
I thought of the movie, it was Blue. So when we watched Blue, like the film wasn't even going to be, it was like all editing afterwards because it wasn't even going to be about the character when they were starting off. So
I vaguely remember this.
We talked about that film being like really meticulously done, seeming like it was really set up well. And then Denny gets to surprise us going, well,
guess what, guys? You're wrong.
They changed everything that they were doing after they shot it.
Yeah,
but anyway,
buddy.
So, sorry, just wanted to remember.
Good job. We've watched a lot of confusing thrown together movies. That's right.
That's right.
Is that all you got, John? What do you got, TC?
I don't think I have anything more. So TC can keep going.
Yeah. John pretty much wrapped it up. I don't, I was having trouble because it was just, I think once you've seen it and you know what's happening, it just didn't.
When's the last time you watched it?
I don't know. I feel like it must have been recent because I remembered a lot of it.
Okay.
So I'm thinking maybe I had watched it at some point years ago, in my adult life at some point. But Yeah, I thought it was good. I mean, it wasn't amazing, but it was damn good for the time, right? I mean, I think some of the stuff's pretty dated, like the throw up.
What? The throw up?
It was
Come on.
it was like
soup.
Play-Doh. You could see it.
It's devil puke. Come on, man. That's what it looks like.
Devil puke. It's not
Yeah,
usual
right,
puke.
right.
Yeah, this is
Yeah. Yeah, you could tell it was very well crafted.
Might have been an
and
unusual color before every kid had slime that was like that. I don't know.
It's like Nickelodeon.
Yeah. Might have been the influence.
Yeah, I thought the acting was good. The mother, I was not, huge fan. I know, but
Boo.
I was, I just got sick of the screaming and hysteria.
Yeah.
What do you think about Linda Blair playing the little girl that's
Which one was that?
crazy? She's the little girl.
She is. I mean, the scene where she comes downstairs when she stares at them and tells them they're going to die
And pisses? That was fucking gross.
That was it was, but her stare, her look is terrifying. The way that she does that blank look.
I mean, when she has the bunch of makeup on later, it's kind of hard to tell that she's doing a lot of acting in those scenes too. But she is like all the evil stares, like looking down, like with her forehead pointed down and all that stuff. That's all her.
Yeah.
Which is pretty awesome
it's good.
too, but like, you forget it's her because like the voice is so different and the face.
And
is
they've
so different.
made her all up to be ghastly. I don't know. I mean, if it's good, it's a good movie. Not a huge horror fan, but glad I watched it.
It's mostly a drama. That's
Yeah.
That's why I think this movie. It took a while for like the horror movie genre to catch up. This movie is a classic, I think, because for a long period of time, horror movies were just horror movies for the sake of gore and scares and stuff. Right. But this one is like 2 hours of like a drama, like a family, tragedy or whatever you want to call it, like a medical issue drama type of thing, maybe an hour and a half. But the majority of the movie is that. And then the rest of it is like trying to figure out problems. Like even if there wasn't an actual devil, a mother could go and look for a priest for help. People do that all the time these days, and they have forever. So like that kind of applies even if there wasn't like a real supernatural thing going on. Supernatural thing doesn't ruin it at the end, but I still really like how this movie spends most of the time building the characters and, with really good acting, and some of the scenes I could see how they, maybe you could say it's 2.5 hours as long for a horror movie. Some of the scenes aren't really necessarily there for the plot, but I thought every single one of them was good. Like the scene where she was, the mother and the daughter were talking in bed. It's like a 7-8 minute long scene. And it was just really a really good character development scene to see how these people actually have a relationship, and seeing that realistic seeming relationship made it harder to watch the stuff later when the girl was like, dying basically, and the mother couldn't do anything about it. So it made like all of the real human connections they had, it made the horror later on like more realistic. And that stuff, I think, is the best kind of horror, because it's not just like Saw, where it's like, oh, this random dude's about to get his head
about to get his arm off. Exactly.
Yeah, these are like borderline drama horrors, and A24 does it a lot. And I think like that subtype of horror, I guess, I don't know what you'd want to call it, like The Witch, I would say is like this, where there's like a little bit of horror that's like hanging over the whole thing.
But the modern thing too is the kind of well, an Exorcist does it too. So actually, still, it's like you have this really slow build, and then it all blows up, right? And Ouija, what was the Ouija board?
Ouija? That was kind of scary.
In the theater.
Yeah,
it was scary.
Ouija
It did this pattern. What was it called?
Ouija 2
in Boston.
Electric Boogaloo, I think that's what it was called.
I know, it's oddly, but it had this very long build up that was really good.
It wasn't as long as you think.
Crazy.
I watched it recently, but it tries.
Right.
Yeah, Mike Flanagan tries to do that too. He's all about the family dynamic stuff. Like he did Oculus 2, which is like a family. It's like a family in a house. He's good at that. He did The Haunting on Hill House, that TV show on Netflix, also a really good horror thing. Also family based, like drama for the most part, with the overtone of horror. So like even all the family drama stuff is like, it's normal, but it's creepy. It's like shot in a way where it's like, well, I can tell something's off. This isn't just like,
right, or something's coming too, because you went to see this film,
right?
So that it's not like you're going to get surprised here.
Yeah, you have 10 scenes in the basement where nothing happens, but you're like, this is a horror show. There's going to be something going on in the basement at some point. So,
yeah, Babadook does that well too. Like,
it does.
Lots of build up. Again, the focus on the relationships too before it all goes to shit. Mm-hmm. So again, the strain between the mother and the kid. So yeah.
And I think it probably is a risk, because I mean, with horror movies, you want with the horror crowd, I think the majority of them, they like the
They're
quick,
easily bored.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of a bad stigma for people like me who actually like different kinds of horror movies.
What do you call yourself? Horrories? What do you call yourself?
Yeah.
What is
I don't
your
know.
name for
This
yourself?
movie was
Yeah,
like the
like a
highest
Swiftie.
grossing movie of the year, and it was the highest grossing
name.
movie Warner Brothers had for a while. It made like $300 million on an $11 million budget.
It was a phenomenon where
Yeah.
everybody had to go see it, whether they loved it or hated it. It was like controversial.
Yep.
There was like all this controversy, right? So you'd be like, even if you didn't want to see it, you had to go see it so you could talk about it like everybody else.
Yeah.
My mom,
yeah.
who hates horror movies and movies in general, really saw this in the theaters and walked out. It was like the last time she ever went to the theaters.
Oh no.
Was because my dad was like, "Let's go see The Exorcist. It's supposed
Everybody's
to be
going
good."
to see this.
And I'm pretty sure my mom's like a kind of a religious person, so if I were to guess at the scene that she left was when the girl was stabbing herself with the crucifix,
In the vagina.
I would
Yeah,
guess that
I would
one.
imagine that was probably
Yeah.
the ditty. Fuck me, fuck me, fuck me.
That's still shocking after
Yes,
all this time.
Still shocking.
Yeah, that was still shocking, I will
I
say.
can't imagine
Yeah.
at the time. I mean, yeah.
It looks really good to say that, with the asterisk there, but it looks, it's believable, it's brutal. The sound effects are disgusting. The fact
Yeah,
that it's
they
like a little girl doing it and the whole idea of it
Is even worse.
is,
Yeah.
and the fact
Yeah.
that they got away with it in this huge popular movie is pretty shocking.
Yeah, they can tell the
pretty
censor
crazy,
board.
yeah.
The censors at the time, they're all probably pretty religious
true.
or whatever. And be like, well, it's a demon. This was, so this is what
I
the
mean,
devil
they
does.
set the
What do you think,
precedent, not me.
man? You want the devil to do nice things? I mean, come on. Just
good
being
point.
realistic here.
Yeah.
You know?
The 70s were a crazy time for movies. I think that was like the most violent decade, right? You got like the Clockwork Orange, you got this one, you got the Dirty
yeah.
Harry movies. It's when all those weird documentary style movies with tons of violence were coming out.
Oof, yeah.
What else we got on this one?
I mean, that fall down the stairs was pretty awesome. Pretty well done.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was definitely, doing the little like the ooh, yeah, like,
Yeah, the way it's foreshadowed is so good too, because they don't show you the director doing it, which is smart. Like
they just tell you that it happened.
They
right?
tell you, and that his head
Yeah.
was twisted around, and so you see those stairs, and you get to think about how that was awful, and so it primes you, I think, for when he falls down too. It just
It's
feels
like it linked
everything
it.
is-
It linked it to the previous thing, and you
Right.
got them both at once.
Right.
you know?
Like it's
Right.
all like
yeah.
again, this idea that somebody was thinking pretty carefully about
They
setting
just
this
sprinkled
up.
it in the front as a little Easter egg. Like, hey, if you're paying attention, you'll remember this, and it'll be worse later.
All right, if it's going to freak you out more
Yeah,
later
right.
because you're thinking about this.
Yeah, if the fall doesn't get you.
Even like it's funny, it's almost a bit of comedy there, where that priest, the surviving priest, is like looking like he's about to walk down the stairs at the end. He's like, nah,
Yeah, I'm gonna stay right
I'm gonna
here and
take
just
the
have a look.
escalator. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call an
I'm
Uber.
gonna go around the
Yeah.
block here.
Well, and I thought it
Yeah,
was a good
gentle
shot too,
incline.
because it showed that stuff in the distance, which means like the fucking demon's out there. We don't know where he is now. It might have
Which
died
I-
with
yeah.
the priest, but maybe it didn't.
Right.
Could still be into someone else now.
Let's tune in for the sequel, which we are not
Which-
watching.
which
Get
there
to
is
Exorcist
one.
3
there's
now.
3.
so-
Oh yes.
Is it the newest one, the third one?
Yeah,
Is it the third, or is it?
it is.
Have there been?
I believe so. Yeah.
Exorcist the Third.
The third.
If I had
yeah,
a demon
baby.
living in my belly, I'd name him Captain Howdy too. That sounds like a pretty friendly.
I mean,
kind of
that was
demon.
pretty fun. That was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I thought that was a great name. I feel like I use that nickname too for other things. Like, how do you?
Friggin', if a kid came into my room and was like, my bed was shaking, and we're like, wait a minute, what? What do you mean it was shaking? Captain Howdy.
Captain Howdy? Who's
Is he-
Captain Howdy?
is he
Yeah,
shaking the
imagine
bed?
that. Imagine your kid coming down and talking to you about Captain Howdy. Be like, what the fuck?
I'm such a wimp. I would just like,
Oh yeah.
just run out of the house with the kid and be like, get the fuck out of here. There's somebody in the house.
So there's already
Outside with the fucking
Yeah.
tennis racket. Like,
Yeah.
Get behind me. No, actually, get in front of me. Get in front of me.
yeah. I don't know what to do. Help! There's a Captain Howdy do you in my fucking son's bedroom.
The ambulance comes, takes you away.
Yeah, I need all the police in this vicinity.
So there's 6 Exorcist movies out already, not
What?
counting the new one. Yeah.
So 7?
6?
So there's 7.
Well,
What?
yeah, there'll be 7, and there's a TV show in 2016.
Dang.
So there's The Exorcist, then there's The Exorcist to the Heretic, that was in 77. Then in 1980, there was The Ninth Configuration. which is the same author. Then in 90, there was Exorcist 3. Then in 2004, there was Exorcist The Beginning. And then 2005 was a movie called Dominion prequel to The Exorcist.
Wow.
Are any of those like actual sequels? The titles make it seem like they're just,
There's
rip-offs.
2 and 3 already for sure. The 9th configuration isn't there. And then there's Exorcist The Beginning is your prequel. But then Dominion prequel to The Exorcist, I don't know. I don't get about that. That came like that was the year after.
That's weird. I had never heard of any of those movies. But yeah, I mean, I have some time codes here. Like the first creepy noise in the attic you hear is 28 minutes into the movie, and the piss carpet scene is 38 minutes into the movie. And just thinking about,
Right.
Talk to Me, which is a great, fun little horror movie where the scary thing happens a minute and a half into the movie.
It's going to kick off right in. Yeah,
Right?
yeah, that's true.
And this is just basically pure drama for 40 minutes before it like slow. And then once it starts, it doesn't speed up that fast. It goes slowly into it.
Even after that 30 minutes in, you're still going down the medical pursuit parts, which is a different kind of scary.
Yeah.
But it's not the terror. Well, it's not the horror film kind of scary. It's still really unsettling.
It's the reality-based
Yeah.
scary. Yeah. Or the relatable scary.
Yeah. The angiogram scene is just awful. It
Oh,
really
that
hard to
was
watch.
brutal, wasn't it? I mean, Jesus, that thing was, I have to say, that was a hell of a practical gag.
That was a
Definitely-
practical gag, and that was her acting. And like, I don't know, I'm usually able to focus on the actors, but William Friedkin did a commentary track, and he was like, "This is some of the best acting in the movie, and this is the scene where people make the most noise in the theaters." Was that scene?
Yeah,
it's like the most
that makes
uncomfortable
sense.
most people are, and he was pointing at Linda Blair and saying it's because of her acting, the way she sells the thing. Like all this stuff looks like
Being
it's actually
uncomfortable
happening
and-
to
yeah.
her. It looks like you're watching a surgery the way they do it.
I know.
And it's just acting.
I know. It's brutal.
Yeah.
And then when like they say at that next part where he's like, "Well, we're gonna have to do it again," I'm like, "No!" And then just like everyone else, I don't want to do that again. Nobody wants to do that again.
And just like the rotating heavy machinery, which I'm pretty sure isn't painful, but she's screaming anyway, just because like the whole ordeal is a nightmare.
It's
sort
just
of thing.
so loud too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The sound, I mean, it won an Oscar for sound. It won 2 Oscars. One of them was for sound. The lack of soundtrack definitely helps you focus on it, but it was also, there was a lot of really quiet sections punctuated by like super, super loud sections, and it went back and forth the entire movie. And the louder sections they escalated in like frequency and loudness as it got further towards like the climax of the movie. And they were pretty unexpected some parts, like the scene where Ellen Bernstein kind of kicks the cop out of the house, and then it slowly, without cutting, she closes the door, says goodbye, turns around, starts going up the stairs, and then you start hearing all this clamoring upstairs, and still without cutting, she like starts sprinting up the stairs, that sort of thing. Where in other horror movies, you'd have a lot more cuts than that. You might like cut to the room first to see what's going on.
You'd also have a lot more, like you'd have some dramatic music building
Here it
up.
comes.
Then
Yeah,
you'd
here
have a
comes the
close up
scary
of her
part.
face.
Yeah.
Being
I mean,
in
this
horror.
is back when you didn't have those kind of edits.
No,
So-
it feels it's done in a way that just feels far more real. Again, not manipulative. They're not like going to go in for the close up of her face to show you how upset she is there, so we can feel upset too with the music going.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's like you said, it's like this one shot almost, or it feels like a clean shot of her from the door, hearing this sound going up. She's already headed up the stairs anyway, and then.
I mean, that's
But
what
wait,
Casablanca was
But
doing.
a horror movie would
right?
have had her stop when she
Lots
hears the
of that.
noise so that we could see her expression and get even more tense. Like, or not, that just seemed to be a common horror movie thing to do. So they could just dramatically try to build up that tension.
Something Hitchcock would do. Are you making fun of Hitchcock right now, John? Sounds like he'd make a cut right
What
there.
did you see the head spin?
What'd you think about that special effect?
It was pretty stupid.
I liked it.
I mean, one of the best things ever come out of that, the time.
The headspin?
Yeah.
Classic headspin.
Yeah.
I think it's been.
Haven't seen anything else like that.
No,
The bed float, classic bed float.
I mean, the good bed float.
nobody else gets to do the head spin after that too.
Beetlejuice
It's
did the
a
head spin.
totally-
He did it a bunch of times, though.
Oh well, that works in a comedy, I guess. You can do a satire or parody of it. That's fine.
Yeah.
But you're not. Yeah, I don't know.
Uh,
You got bugs in your house?
yeah, we've had the doors open for days, so we have like flypaper and shit in here, just trying to like get rid of them. Headspin, bed float. Oh, William Friedkin didn't want to tell any of the special effects secrets during the commentary track because he's like, I want the magic to remain. I'm like, God damn it.
Even
Friedkin.
now?
Yeah, even now. Well, I don't know when he recorded it when laser discs were around, so probably in the 90s.
So it's still.
Oh, wow.
So I guess
So that's
it's
a while
still.
back.
It's not like.
Yeah. He actually praised it. He's like, this is the future. These laser discs here, you're listening to these commentary tracks on. This is going to be the way film is kept forever because on film, it's going to degrade over time. But on the digital format, this is how, this movie might live for forever, is what he said, which is probably true. It's on 4K now, guys. It got released a week and a half ago. Look at that.
Hey.
They're remastering it still.
You remember how big those laser discs were? The
I remember.
laser
They
discs
were bigger
like-
than records,
like-
right?
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, they were
large.
huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
One thing I'll say about this movie is I didn't find it that scary.
No, it wasn't.
I found it
that bad.
tense. I mean, I mean, I think that's a good point. I think some people find it really scary, and maybe some
creepy.
people have some belief in that kind of religious supernatural stuff. It really is more frightening, I guess. Like if you really believe in the possibility of demons, maybe it's
So
more
like
scary.
all mental.
Yeah,
you
maybe.
know? Yeah, not really. Yeah, it's not really a shock movie, right? Yeah, except for the head spin.
No, the
well,
vomit
like
and
The girl
yeah,
stabbing
well, I guess
herself
the neck thing too.
with a
Yeah.
crucifix.
There's some shock there.
Is it
has-
just
Actually,
because
think
I
about
guess is
that.
it just because we've seen it that
Maybe.
like it didn't have its
I was
much
never
weight?
scared of this one. This one never like gave me nightmares for some reason. Maybe it's because it is a demon and I never really bought into that whole thing. So I was like, all right, there's something to be afraid of here. I agree it is tense and it has like a mood to it, but I'm never like afraid afterwards, which is not necessarily a bad thing.
Are you grossed out afterwards or at all?
No, I think I was when I first watched it, but I'm so used to these effects. Well, grossed out. Yes, I was grossed out by the neck blood. That actually was hard to watch.
That actually did gross. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
And the scene
Okay.
with the crucifix, I haven't seen this movie in like 15 years. That was like, oh my God, this is actually pretty damn graphic. I don't remember it being this graphic. And the fact that there was this like, however old, like young teenager saying some of these things was also
Yeah, I
pretty
know.
shocking.
And words that we'll never hear in film
I can't
probably
imagine.
again.
Right,
I can't imagine being in the theater there, like some of those early film goers.
People got sick. People threw
Yeah.
up in the crowd. They they
I
ran
bet.
out and stuff. Like it was a shit show, and it led to like even more people going because they're like, I want to see what this is all about.
I mean,
Right.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Can you imagine someone? I have never seen a movie so scary where someone vomited in the theater. I want to see that movie.
Yeah.
I feel like these days that might just be a hostile movie, though.
Would you laugh
Maybe.
at them, like point and laugh as it happened? What would you do? I guess I'm trying to think what I would do, and I'm not sure what I would do if I would be like, ugh, or like
I think I would be like, this is
or
awesome.
like,
I saw a
It's
concert
hard
that was
to
so
imagine.
intense
right.
that somebody threw
Yeah.
up because of how intense the concert was, and I was like, yeah, this concert
yes,
rules.
that's awesome.
That's right.
Head bang.
Made that guy
right.
puke. This is
Yeah,
sick.
that's right. That's right. I'm gonna go get punched. Yeah.
Exactly right. I'm going towards the front. Yeah,
I'm
fuck
gonna
yeah.
go put my head forward. Let's just get hit. Let's do it. Yeah, right.
Close your mouth. Make sure your tongue is between your
Those were
teeth.
the-
Let's go.
Those were the 8th grade hardcore days.
Yeah.
Yeah, just spin your hands, man. Just spin your hands.
Come on, John. You never stomped around like an idiot.
I don't know what does the spit in the hands do? No,
Like spinning hands. Spinning hands. Like you're like swinging your arms and you know
You said just spit in
about
your
to
hands. I was like,
knock someone in the face. No.
Gotcha.
God, I hate shows like that. As an
Not
adult
like-
these days,
not real.
Oh my
scary
God.
ones. Yeah.
I can't even get near an audience anymore. I have
Yeah.
to sit either like in the VIP section or like near it or away from the crowd.
I still go to punk shows, but like these days, I stand like in the back because some
In
of
the
them,
back.
some of them they break out with pits and stuff still, and I'm just like, oh
I know.
no, I'm too old for this. I
No,
might
no,
break
no.
something. This is
My
bad.
knees already hurt.
No,
I don't
I
need
know.
this.
I know. Seriously, mine too. I'm walking around with it wrapped all the time. I'm not going to a punk show.
But this punk
right.
rock sure is making me bounce. That's
Well, I
right.
like
I'm just bouncing over here in the back.
I'm gonna bob over here.
Yeah.
Excuse me. What?
Yeah.
Not blocking your.
I'm gonna buy a T-shirt. Everyone know how cool I am. That's right.
Honestly, we went to one of those like rave things in San Francisco when we were there, and at night, and after we were out of there by midnight. I was like,
Yeah.
for one, the drugs were on the floor.
For
and
one,
that's my
the music
cue
is
to
so
leave.
repetitive, and those I've been to a bunch
Oh
of
my
those
God,
things
it's so
too.
bad.
Yeah.
But as soon as we saw the blow come out and guys just put pushing his key around. I'm like, we gotta go.
All
So
it
we
is
left.
drugs.
And
There's no reason
dude,
to go
it
to those
was like
places without drugs.
I'm sorry, but it was getting to the point where it was getting scary. Like if something bad happens, there is nowhere to go, right? And we're in this fucking basement. And then I kept thinking to myself, like, how old are you? Like you're the only one here that's just not enjoying himself, right? Like I can't even enjoy myself anymore at those things 'cause I'm too old. So I hear you at the punk shows. I'm in the back too.
Yeah, well, I'm still enjoying it. I'm just like, I'm old.
I'm enjoying it for a little bit and then leaving early. Just
I
like
got my
they do the
earplugs
third
in.
quarter.
I'm way in the back. I got, I'm far enough back where I have my drink and no one bumps into me. Got to make sure I don't spill any on myself.
Right. Yeah.
Don't want to make my
that
shoes sticky.
That Denny like smirk. And
yeah.
Like, yep. The eye
I
lights up,
approve. That was a good one. That one really got me. Got me tapping my foot there.
Might even throw out a woo there once in a while.
That's exactly right.
That's funny. Yeah.
All right. Are you guys ready for some commentary stuff?
Yeah. What's got?
So there's 2 commentary tracks. I'm going to start off by saying the second one was absolute garbage. The writer of the book, William Peter Blatty, did the second commentary track, and I couldn't get through it.
Really?
He talked for 10 minutes about good and evil, and he said some really stupid shit about good and evil. He said that good and evil has to exist in a binary method. He said specifically, evolution doesn't explain why people at war jump on grenades to protect their
Him and
comrades.
Chris Nolan ought to get together so they can write a film too. He's got it. Nolan ripped him off. That's that whole love is the 5th or 6th dimension or whatever.
6th dimension, John.
So, I can't count that high. So yeah. Anyway,
Maybe so. But then, so that went on for 10 minutes, and then he started rambling about his mother's death. He's like, he literally started this part of the conversation by saying, when my mother died, and then he just started talking for 5 minutes. I'm just like, dude, what is this? What is this? So I shut it off after 15 minutes, which is a pretty,
okay.
It would have been a comparable
That's unusual
record
for you, man.
if I hadn't have already
That is
watched
pretty
another
bad for
entire
you.
commentary track.
Well, okay.
well,
you
that's
might want to
right.
do it.
Yeah,
But
that's fair.
is this the worst? I mean, you walked out of a commentary. You haven't done that many times, I don't think.
No, I haven't. It's less than 10 out of all these movies we've watched. Yeah. It's hard to say because I think I would have given it more of a shot if I hadn't already listened to an entire one. That was
if
like
that would have been
decent.
the first one, maybe.
If it was the first one, I might have given it more of a shot.
Yeah.
Who the hell knows? Still pretty bad. Not great. I have more of a thorn in my... This guy was just a rambling old guy, and he was like a part of the movie, so it's hard to get mad at him, but he was just rambling.
Yeah, and he
as
wrote
opposed
the script,
to
wrote the book.
Right.
You know.
I'm not like mad at him. I'm just like, that was pointless. As opposed to the historian guys who are just like, all right, everyone, here's my accent, and I'm going to say useless shit at you.
to try to justify
I'm an
my life
academic.
choices.
And I love film.
Yeah, I just hate those guys. So there's a
right.
difference there. I have no emotion towards this other one. But William Friedkin did the commentary track on this. It was okay. He, he has a lot of also ideas about good and evil. He was on set every day with this William Blatty guy. William Blatty, was hugely influential on the screenplay. What happened was William Friedkin got sent this book right after he finished The French Connection, read it in one day, in one sitting. He said he read it in 4 to 5 hours, which for a 400-page book, that's pretty freaking fast. So I don't know if I buy that, but I guess some people can read that fast. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. The Kindle average reading time, because I read like parts of it. It was like 8 hours, sort of. So
wow.
So it's twice as fast as other people.
So, yeah.
What? I guess if you're like a
He's
director, maybe
skimming.
you want to like read really fast. So
I mean,
you can, read more
if
stuff.
you're used to reading scripts and
Maybe.
But it's not a script. He read the book.
Or he
no,
might
I
have
know,
been
but if you're just
skimming.
used to
Maybe
reading
you're also-
scripts, right?
you
You're
start
used to
skimming
reading
too.
a lot, right?
True.
Yeah, maybe that's right.
Because you get a blitz through 120 pages in one
true.
sitting
Yeah.
to sort of
That's a good point.
give notes.
But
And,
that was, well, he's a fast reader then.
yeah,
But he read the
we'll
book.
give him the benefit of the doubt, which I don't usually do,
Yeah.
as we all know. So
But he read the book, loved it, called, this Blatty guy and was like, we got to make this. This is great. And Blatty was very excited because, he didn't think it was going to get made. But what he did is in anticipation of people reading it is he wrote a screenplay for it. And he sent the screenplay to William Friedkin. And what Friedkin said was it was terrible. The script was terrible because basically what he did was he took out all the dramatic parts, all the buildup, and it was just horror parts in the screenplay.
Man.
So Friedkin was like, dude, I like you. You wrote a really good book. The screenplay is trash. Let's start over and work together, okay? So then Friedkin helped him whittle down the book and kind of have the same format and the same character-driven stuff going on there. So that's how they got the scripts
Nice.
in the shape that it was in.
Interesting that he, Blatty writes the book that way, and then when he thinks about like how you're going to do it as a movie, he's only thinking in terms of, I guess, action. He's just not thinking in terms of.
No one
He's
watches
thinking,
dialogue scenes. This is
Right,
boring.
yeah. Or
Right?
or it's really hard to write that. It might be hard to figure out how you put that in a movie, but you can put like an action scene. You can figure out how to write that.
Yeah.
I guess in a script, maybe
That's
that's
for sure.
easier.
I don't know if it's easier.
Well,
but it might be more
it
like
might not be a good action either, but maybe
Yeah.
it's just more straightforward. If you're, this person goes here and does this.
right.
I don't know.
This is a risk too, though. I mean, if this movie wasn't so well acted, it would be really bad. If the special effects and the acting were not there, if like the lighting and the mood wasn't there, if the editing
Right,
didn't
right.
like support all of that, if the sound wasn't as good as it is, like there's a lot that makes this movie even tolerable, right? Otherwise, it might be like an extreme slog of a movie.
Yeah. If they
Yeah,
had
yeah,
like
true.
if they had a soundtrack that was like hammering away at you all the time when the mom's upset, holy cow, it would have been really annoying. It would have gone way overboard, I think, too, because the characters are doing plenty to make you feel tense. But yeah, so all those decisions, could have made this. Yeah, you're right. It could have gone off the rails.
So maybe that's what the
Lots of
writer
ways.
was thinking. He was like removing all of the variability there with all these, this dramatic scene needs to have all these things to make it work. It's much easier just to have like a scary thing where it's like, all right, if it's scary or not, that's all we have to worry about. It's one
Yeah,
thing.
that's right.
I don't
Yeah.
know. It could be a thought process there. That's what I would do. That's all I'm saying. Make it nice and easy. Just do the scary thing after the scary thing and don't worry about
Yeah,
anything
you're
else.
right. That's right.
They filmed for 3 weeks in Iraq. It was 130 degrees in the middle of the day. They filmed in the morning until 11 a.m. until it hit around 130 degrees. And then they had to hide from the sun from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. And at 8 p.m., it was still sunny, and it was sunny until 11:30 p.m. at night.
Wow.
So they shot in the morning and at night for 3 weeks. And they shot at a real dig site. So
Wow.
that's pretty
So that's something.
pretty serious shit there. And Max von Sydow, I didn't notice this, but he had makeup on, like some pretty serious makeup. I just thought that's what he looked like
Oh, so
no,
to
I
make
didn't
him
notice.
look older?
to make him look
Or-
older. Yeah.
Wow.
So I guess really good
that-
makeup
Yeah.
because he couldn't. I just thought he was old.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, but that makeup took an hour to take off. So they filmed until 11:30 at night. They had to take his makeup for an hour. So he was done at 12:30 at night, and then he had to go to his hotel and then get up at 6 to put the makeup back on and to get out into the freaking hot weather for shooting. And he wasn't
Jesus.
young when he was doing this. So
Yeah, I know. That oftentimes is something I wonder about when these older actors are out there. Like, that can be tough. They and they're doing it on purpose.
he's doing, yeah. This movie won Best Writing, William Blatty, and Best Sound. Got nominated for Best Film Editing, Best Art Direction, Best Cinematography, Best Director, Best Actress, Linda
Was
Blair,
it-
Best Supporting
Wow.
Role, Jason Miller, Best
Wow.
Actress, Ellen Bernstein, and Best Picture, William Blatty.
Holy shit, huh?
Is
a
this
horror
the first
movie.
Won
horror
all the
film
things.
to? Was it the first horror film to get? Well, probably the most awards, the
Psycho?
most nominations of anyone, right? Oh, Psycho.
I think Psycho
point.
got
It's-
some noms, but yeah, this movie was like, considering how R-rated it was too. Like
Right,
Psycho
right.
is kind of for kids, even though it's R-rated, but like
Psycho. It's for kids. No, it's not.
it's less.
Psycho. It's
I
for
would,
kids.
I would show my kids Psycho way earlier. than
Well,
The
if I have
Exorcist.
to choose, I yes, if you're going to pick
Psycho,
one,
it's for kids. That's the slogan. Yeah.
yeah, we're going to watch Psycho.
Yeah,
for the
Psycho.
kids.
It's for kids.
The Exorcist is for early teens. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, we'll wait till they're 12.
6 and up.
Then they can identify with the main
If
character.
they can stand, they can stare, guys.
It's like if they can do a 20-piece Lego, they can probably watch this movie.
20-piece Lego. Jesus, you even make those?
I don't know.
Feel sad for the kid that gets a 20-piece Lego in a box.
Can't do it.
Can't do it. You can't watch The Exorcist yet. Maybe next year. Oh, they had other people in line. 3 other actresses that they wanted in front of Ellen Bernstein. The producers did not want Ellen Bernstein because she was unproven, and the studios wanted proven because this was going to be a big movie for them. But William Friedkin did not want anyone known because he didn't want someone else's persona coming in and ruining the realism of the movie he was trying to get. Because what he was really trying to get like a documentary feel to everything. He wanted everything to be natural. So he saw Ellen Bernstein do some stage plays. She's been in a couple movies. She killed it at the auditions, but the studio heads didn't want her. So they auditioned Audrey Hepburn, and she said she would do it, but she would only do it if they shot it in Rome because she was living in Rome. And William Friedkin was like, "Fuck no, I'm not shooting in Rome."
Wow, that's a tall, yeah. If you guys come here, I'll do it. Otherwise, go screw it.
I don't
They don't have studios like Hollywood and Rome. Like all the shit they need is in Hollywood.
Travel.
Yeah,
I don't travel. Sorry, I'm Rome
happy to do it.
specific.
if you pay me lots to sleep in my own bed, fuck yeah, I'll do it. Says Audrey
that's
Hepburn. So that's why she didn't do it. Anne Bancroft wanted to do it, but she got pregnant. Oops. Shouldn't have done that.
That happens.
And then they asked Jane Fonda, and she did not want to do it.
Oh.
She would do Barbarella, spin around naked
Right.
at 0G, but
That's
she
true.
wouldn't do.
That's sexy.
That's sexy.
You
She
can see
can't
them
take
reading
her
the
clothes
script
off on
going,
this one, right? So-
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true also.
So those are the three actors they wanted in front of Ellen, but they kind of were running out of time, and Ellen was just kind of sitting there being like, "I want it," and William Friedkin's like, "I want her," so she ended up being cast, just kind of as like, "Well, if we want to go forward, we got to take her, even though I don't want her." But then this, I think this is one of the best horror movie performances ever, and I think really good performances like in The Babadook are kind of very similar to this one, right? Like this was really unique for the time, on top of being really good.
And it wasn't The Shining.
And it wasn't
reaction,
The Shining. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of real people were cast. The priests were real. Patients were real. The nurses were real. Georgetown Society members in those rally scenes. The main character, priest. Oh, it's Pirate. TC just
TC's
laughed.
having to take some kind of cat care break.
Did Pirate just shit on the ground?
No, she's just fucking making noise throughout. So I'm sick of hearing her. She wants to go outside, but so I locked her in the room.
Nice.
So she can't go.
So what
she
you get,
can't make
Pirate,
any
you
more.
dumbass.
She keeps, you're gonna have to go through from 40 minutes to 50 minutes. You're gonna have to go through and find her meows because they're gonna be back there, and she wouldn't stop.
I wasn't
so.
hearing him.
I wasn't hearing it either.
It's probably because the Zoom has got good background stuff, but that won't be on the recording. So,
well, I have a gate on you anyway, so hopefully that.
all right. Well, hopefully that'll catch it, but it may not.
God
She's
damn it,
been
Pirate.
bitching for 10 minutes.
Pirate Gate.
Yeah.
CC, I was just saying that all these people were real, including Jason Miller. That's what his name was.
Oh.
He wasn't an actor. He was a real priest. So, well, he actually went to 3 years of like priest school, whatever you call it. Like, John, do you know what that's called?
Or
Seminary, something like that. Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
He got pretty far into it and then quit because it wasn't for him. But he had the friend of William Friedkin. The guy introduced him. Was like, you should meet this guy. The first interview did not go well. The guy was not an actor. He was not very nice, and they didn't get along. So they kind of left that interview being like, well, okay, I'll never see that guy again. But eventually he needed people to read a sermon, like there's sermon scenes in this. And the scene where he's doing this is the blood, drink from this cup, this is my blood sort of thing. That whole thing, his direction there was like, you're reading this as if you're understanding it, what it actually means for the first time. And that was what he was doing there. And they told him to like send in a daily for that. He actually like begged to come in for a daily shoot. He was in Hollywood, and I think he was in Hollywood, but he needed to get to New York in like 2 days. And he was like, I can't do it. I'll be there in 4 days. And he's like, no, it's 2. And then Jason Miller said, I don't fly, so I got to take a train. And William Friedkin's like, all right, fine. So he got Ellen Bernstein to come in and read against him, and he read the sermon scene and was really good. And they did screen tests, and they saw the dailies the next day, and he was like, oh shit, this guy films really well. All right, I guess like this is the
Let's go for it.
This is what we're going for.
Because I thought he was great.
Yeah.
It's like
He was.
They had another
He was.
famous actor. He didn't say who it was. Already signed on, and he liked this Jason Miller guy so much after that meeting that they had to pay out the other guy to not be in the movie.
Oh, I thought it was Stacy
wow.
Keach.
Oh, Stacy Keach? Okay.
Yeah.
He was like respected. For some reason, he didn't mention his name because he thought it was like respectful or something like that.
That's fair enough.
Who's Stacy Keach? Not another.
Mike Hammer,
I'll look it up.
He's in a lot of stuff.
So
But he was
that's
in
what
a
happened
TV
there.
show
But
called
this
Mike
guy
Hammer.
wasn't an actor at all, and I thought he did a pretty freaking good job.
Yeah, he did.
And he got nominated for an Oscar for this too. William Friedkin at some parts, I guess, didn't think he was that great of an actor because to get him to look startled, he fired a gun off next to his head once. And Jason Miller got really mad at him for that for obvious reasons.
Oh, did he?
Yep.
Oh, shit.
And he also got really pissed when there was a scene where he got vomited on the face. That reaction of him was real because it was supposed to hit him in the chest. And it hit him in the face, and it really pissed him off because he didn't want to get that shit in his face. So him wiping it off and looking pissed was real.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The mental ward was real. Only a few actors were placed in there. Everyone else was real.
Ah.
Is that not good, John?
Oh, it's just another uncomfortable scene there, just watching people suffering.
There's a lot of rumors about how how there's like a few frame shots of like a white face that are sometimes cut into the movie. Happens really fast. Did you guys notice that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Back when this movie came out, people thought that it was like it was intended to brainwash the audience or something.
Oh, like subliminal sort of thing.
Subliminal shit. Yeah. And
that's interesting.
It is, but it's kind of stupid because you can see it like pretty easily, right?
Right.
It's fast, but you can see it. It's like, oh, there's a face. Oh, okay. Kind of like in Fight Club where
and
they
it doesn't really do much other than get like,
like, whoa, oh, okay.
Wake you up a bit.
Yeah. Pay attention. Okay, I'm paying attention.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, there's a whole bunch of people that still think, because once these rumors start, people do not let go of them. That's how this goes. That think it's there for brainwashing. And William Friedkin was like, it's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I put it in there.
It's a movie, guys.
Because he basically wanted people to pay attention. Because it was like in the middle of the slower scenes, and he's like, "This is still supposed to be scary."
So it does make it.
It was another. There's a really, I really liked it. It was the dream sequence where he's dreaming about his mom
across the street.
Right. That was really good. It was really well done. And when they had the scary the face flash, I really liked that. I thought that was like,
damn it, my boy, you are my brother. Damn it, you're my boy. You are my brother. That's my boy.
Well, now you're ruining it. But yeah, I thought it was good at the time.
They wanted Brando in this role.
Can you imagine?
Damn it,
that's my boy.
It would have both people being like, damn it, Polly. His mom's name is Polly. You were my mother, Polly.
Polly. You were my mother, Polly.
I'd watch that. Sounds like a classic. There's a lot of other rumors too where people started spreading. I guess like before fast media, people would just make shit up and it would spread much easier. People thought that they didn't actually think this. They thought that Linda Blair, to get that performance, had to have been tortured. So a bunch of columnists in legit newspapers made up stories about how they tortured Linda Blair to get this demonic performance out of her and put it in papers. And again, a bunch of people still fucking believe that, even though Linda Blair came out like within a couple of months saying, no, it was fantastic. Everyone was professional. At the time of my life, she was like going to school, getting straight A's.
She's lying. She's under duress.
She's a straight A student, have lots of friends, riding, like winning horse, little, dressage things. Like she was into horses and stuff. She was just, being a great little kid after this.
A rich little kid.
Yeah. So those are all lies, but she did have to have security follow her around for 6 months after this movie was made because a bunch of people thinking that she was promoting the devil in some weird way were against her. Some like religious nuts were like, fuck her. She's like bringing light to the devil. This isn't cool. Let's get her. Fucking 14-year-old girl, just like unsafe. Good job, religion. Good job, you fucking idiots.
This is people.
Yeah, people are ridiculous. But yeah, she was never like, tortured during this movie, which is kind of like the Babadook too, because like you couldn't tell by watching it. It looks very serious the way they cut it together, but the way they did it, behind the scenes and all that stuff was nice. It's not torturing a kid. So Jason Miller would have been fine without being cast in this role. He had a Pulitzer Prize winning play that was making a ton of money at this time, so he was going to fall back on that if he didn't get this role. He was also before that happened. So like when he got cast, that was starting to build up and make him money. But when they first interviewed it, he was delivering milk in Queens.
Oh wow, damn! So a dairy guy.
So he had a good year there. A really good year. He went from delivering milk in Queens to getting an Oscar nomination and a Pulitzer Prize winning box office play.
Damn. Yeah.
Good job, buddy. So when Jason called to beg for the role, it was after he just read the book and he was like, oh shit. And he called him up and he said, I am this guy. So he read the character and he was like, this is me. This is perfect. I can do this. The soundtrack from what it was Tubular Bells from a pile of demos. Did you say it was like a famous composer, John? It made it sound like it was a sound test for an instrument pad.
Oh, really? I thought it was. I didn't know that. Mike Oldfield is the name, and
apparently the song that he had was in a pile of demos.
That was actually his debut. That was a debut studio album that came out in '73.
If you listen to the whole song, according to Willam Friedkin, it's that theme we hear for 30 seconds, and then after 30 seconons, the person who made it starts talking over that sound, describing what you're hearing. So the majority of the track is kind of like instructional
what you're hearing
sounds.
now is he was 19 when he made that. Oakenfold was.
Oh wow!
Damn. Out of his time.
Yeah, it's great for a horror theme. It's one of the best.
Yeah,
like because it doesn't sound like necessarily it's trying to be scary, but there's a creepiness to it still, right? It's really neat.
Yeah, I said I wasn't scared, but I mean that stuff it's good. It lends to a mood of like creepiness, I guess, is the mood, maybe. They did a bunch of modeling for the makeup, and they liked what the guy was doing, but it was coming out too monster movie-like. So they went back to the drawing board and looked up real pictures of burn victims and facial scarring, and they based it off of those. Gotta suck to be a special effects guy, huh? Get that assignment? Fuck that. Well, thank you. But that's what they based it on. They got this woman called Mercedes McCambridge, who they were looking for like a, somebody to do the voice of the demon in the girl, Linda Blair, and they wanted a neutral gendered voice or whatever, neutral sounding voice. And Willam Friedkin had a radio show host back when he was a kid that he liked called Mercedes McCambridge, who he remembered, and they went looking for her and they found her, and she was doing like some live shows in New York. And they talked to her and they got her to sign on for this. And they experimented for 3 weeks, 8 hours a day. And what they did when they were doing it is they fed her whiskey. They had her smoke 3 packs a day.
Oh, shit.
They made her eat raw eggs.
What?
And there's another one. Stripped. Oh, they strapped her to the chair too. That's right. So they strapped her to a chair. She smoked 3 packs a day to get the growl, drinking whiskey, eating raw eggs to get that voice.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Can you imagine? That would be so not allowed.
What isn't cool is that she had quit smoking, and he got her to pick up smoking again to smoke the 3 packs a day to get this voice. That's fucked.
Look, I'm gonna need you to get back on the butts. Yeah.
Your voice was way growlier back when you were on the cigarettes.
Look, it's just not doing it for me. We need to get you hooked.
There was actual exorcism sound included in the movie. When they were doing the exorcism parts, it was mixed in. There was like some old Spanish exorcism that had an audio recorded track that's in there. And Friedkin thought it was just a really scary sound, whether or not it's real. He believes in exorcisms, for the record. And so does William Blatty. They both believe it is definitely a thing. So, got to believe in the crazy stuff to get all motivated to make a movie like this, I suppose. This movie took 6 months to film, a very long time. It was the lighting design that made it slow. Yeah, the last exorcism scene took 6 weeks.
Damn.
By itself. 10 minutes in the movie, 6 weeks.
Holy shit, huh? Would they just keep reviewing it and not liking it, or what?
It was a lot of different takes. They tried a bunch of different stuff. It took them a while to get some of those special effects right. And they also had, one of the things they talked about was they had 2 sets for that bedroom. One was a normal set they could film in all the time. The other one was a set they could only film in for 2 hours a day, because at nighttime when they went home, it was a refrigerated room with a bunch of like huge AC fans in there, and they turn it on at night when everyone went home. So they went in there in the morning and filmed there first, and they filmed the scenes where all their breath was cold in that room.
Oh, right,
but since they had to turn on all the studio lights when everyone was in there, the lights would raise the temperature of that refrigerated room pretty quickly. So they'd only be able to get about 2 hours in that room per day.
Before it would be too warm.
Before you couldn't see their breath anymore. So that must have been a factor in that 6 weeks. Because a lot of the scenes had the cold breath in there.
And it was a really cool effect, I will say. That's an interesting way of dealing with that situation. They've got a problem that they're facing, and how do we get it cold breath and in a set?
Friedkin would be like, you'd put this in a movie now with CG, you wouldn't even think about it, and it would look perfect. And you're like, I agree with you.
Well,
and everywhere
yeah,
except for it would
maybe.
look perfect. It wouldn't look that good.
It may not. Yeah.
I can still tell when there's fake smoke, fake fire, fake.
Right.
You can see
Especially if it's like they didn't have any practical effects, so there's nothing to blend it to.
Right.
Then it's really hard
it. Yeah.
to make it seem perfect or believable.
And that's it.
All right.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Kicking off. So this movie is in the top 250.
Right.
It's what is it this week? In the 240s maybe? 225. Look at that.
Nice.
Climb it up.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's all those trailers.
It's got to be the trailers. People really love that terrible trailer for the 8th,
The new one?
7th, whatever it is.
Yeah.
All right, next week we're watching Exorcist number 7, directed by Willam Friedkin.
right.
Wow, he did that one too. He's coming
Did he
back for
really?
the cash. No, he didn't. I can't imagine he did. Is this guy still
Is he
alive?
alive?
Oh, he died this year. Shit.
Oh shit.
Oh.
That
Doesn't have much
sucks.
That sucks.
Yeah. You guys ever watch? I wanted to mention this really quick too. Do you ever watch Sorcerer?
No.
No.
We
what is
talked
that?
about this like 5 years ago, I think, when we watched.
This is a film?
It's a film, and Willam Friedkin directed it, and it's a remake of the movie that we watched 5 or 6 years ago called Wages of Fear. It's like a French movie
Oh, yeah, I
about the
remember
trucks
that.
that have like the dynamite on them, and they
Oh,
have
God,
to.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
remember that.
And they have to drive them through like the rainforests, but they have to go slow because it's bumpy.
You gotta go slow or you're gonna blow up.
Yep. There's a movie that Willam Friedkin made in the English language
Called
called
Sorcerer, where there's magic
No,
involved.
nope. The name is
It's just
horrible,
about the
and it
trucks.
led to the movie bombing, and it kind of
Just
led
don't
to the
you know what
downfall.
Oh,
of
you
his
go see a
career.
show about magicians. Wait a minute. They got trucks.
Yeah.
What's this?
So it was a terrible name for a movie, and the movie was, it's not bad. It's like worth watching.
Really?
The special effects are really good. They drive this truck into some
Not
pretty
an
treacherous.
awesome review there.
Yeah, they blow up really good, I bet.
Yeah.
I remember not really enjoying the first one.
Yeah. Maybe skip it then, huh? Yeah, it's a good one.
All right, we're gonna skip that
Skip
one.
that one. But all right. So yes, on the top 250, we got.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's
So next
Definitely.
week
What do you got for us,
we
Tim?
got the art house horror pick of the year.
Okay.
We're doing the second movie by the guy who did The Witch, Robert Eggers, and that movie happens to be called The Lighthouse, and it happens to have
Oh,
Willem
geez,
Dafoe
here we go.
and Robert Pattinson in it.
all right. Finally gonna have to see this one.
Have you seen it?
Oh, you haven't seen it?
No.
Okay,
Haven't seen it.
TC gets to go first next week.
good. You're right. But we
He's
still
gonna hate
All
it.
right.
He's gonna hate it.
Oh yeah, I think I am.
Don't.
How
just,
long is it? Is it long?
It can't be that long. It can't.
The aspect
it's
ratio.
109 minutes. Not bad.
Oh, that's not too bad.
TC, just get yourself in a mindset for mood and cinematography.
Okay, it's a tone poem.
It's a witch. It's kind of like the
grizzled
witch.
beers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Except with the lighthouse. The lighthouse at the end comes in and I don't know.
It
what a
attacks
lighthouse
you.
can
It's
do,
a guy that grows
It
arms and
attacks you.
legs.
Swallows
It
you
kind of
whole.
stomps around.
Kaiju lighthouse.
Yeah.
Just it grows arms and legs.
And has to fight Defoe, and Defoe gets
Right.
one of those big ass anime swords, and he flies through
That's
the
right.
air. Spoilers. I should have said spoilers for.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right.
Yeah,
It's
so
all
So it's like
right.
a battle royale.
You'll see it coming.
slash-
They foreshadow it pretty good before
It's pretty
it
cool
happens.
because it has this like lighthouse beam laser that's just like circling all the time.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah,
Defoe
yeah,
has to
yeah.
like jump out of the way. It's kind of like a video game. It's pretty cool.
That's not helping.
Yeah. Expect that, and then see what you get. We'll talk next week.
Yeah, and then good luck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stop 'em.